Why am I telling you? Well, I'm telling you because I nearly missed the boat, you see. I was 35 before I became a Christian. Whenever I was young, a young girl, I can remember going to meetings and hearing the need to put the Lord in charge of your life and knowing that that's what I needed to do. And I can remember standing there, my heart would have been pounding so hard that I thought the person next door to me would have heard it. And you know, I chose to walk away from that. Kept thinking, not yet, I'm not ready. Well, then as time went on and I got married and had children, and you know, I thought less and less about this. The children were sent along to Sunday school and church, but my visits to church were very rare. And they got less and less, and I thought about things like that less and less. Until I was, as I say, 35. And there was a girl came to my door one night and she asked, would I like to come along to the young wives in the church that I went to at that time? And I said, yes, I would. You know, I hadn't been out much, and I had looked after my mother for a few years, and my social life was absolutely nil. So I was delighted when this happened, and it was an opportunity to get out and meet people again. So I went along, and the people that were involved in this meeting, now they weren't all Christians, but I could nearly have picked the Christians out. And you know, I realised there's something that I didn't have. You see, I was very happy. I had a happy marriage and lovely children, but I knew there was something missing. And I knew what that something was, and I thought, well, you know, I would like to be a Christian. And the more I thought about this, the more complicated it got, because sayings would come into my head like, you come to the foot of the cross. This was a saying that would have been said in missions, you know. You take a step in faith. You ask the Lord Jesus into your heart. And all these things were like a barrier to me. I didn't understand them, couldn't see them. And there was a girl, now she belongs to the Baptist church now, but she went to this church along with that I went to, and she would have given me a lift home at nights. And I'll tell you who it is. It's Elizabeth Woodside. And Elizabeth would have been bringing me home at night, and I would have quizzed her and quizzed her. Elizabeth, how do you become a Christian? And Elizabeth nearly bent over backwards to explain it all to me, and in the simplest of terms, but I could not see. I was blind to it. And anyhow, time went on, and I'm sure I searched and searched for about a year, and nothing happened. And then Woodlands Church was having a mission, and my two neighbours that I was very friendly with, they belonged to that church and they were going along to this mission. And I can remember thinking, I'm glad they didn't ask me to go with them, because I would only hear the things that I know and I wouldn't be able to understand. It would make me even worse. But that night, later on that night, there was a knock at my door. And when I opened the door, there's the pair of them standing, bubbling over, just bubbling over. They had become Christians. Well, it was like a slap in the face to me. I just couldn't understand it. Of course, I didn't let on to them now. I said, oh, that's wonderful, that's great, and all the rest of it. But inside, I was afraid. I was really afraid. These two had went to a meeting and found the Lord like that. I had been seeking for a year and couldn't see it, didn't know what to do. So the more, after they went home that night, the more and more I thought about this, the more in despair I got, until my husband came through me and said, Margaret, what on earth's the matter with you? Because I was in tears by this stage. And I just told him, I says, oh, I just feel the Lord doesn't want me. I've had my chance. I want to become a Christian and I just can't see it. So I don't think the Lord wants me. I've missed my chance at becoming a Christian. And I really was frightened. And he said, Margaret, you can't say that. Now, bearing in mind, he wasn't a Christian at this stage. But he said, you can't say that because the very fact that you're in this state, the Lord's speaking to you. The Lord's striving with you. And he said, you know, there's a verse in Revelation chapter 3, and it's verse 20, and he quoted it to me, and this is what it says. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in to him and eat with him and he with me. And you know, the penny dropped. It was like a veil been lifted. All at once, I could see it. Yes, that was it. The Lord was standing there waiting for me to ask him to come in and take charge of my life. I could see it plainly. When someone comes to your door, knocks it, you have to open the door and invite them in. So that's simply what I had to do. Open the door, invite him into my life to take charge of it, to cleanse me from my sinfulness, to turn away from my sin, to turn around and start living for him. And you know, that's just what I did. My husband was to get saved later on that year, but I never looked back. And you know, with all I have come through, I'm glad that I found the Lord. I'm glad that he found me. And I hope that you do too. Thank you.